Yo, what up guys? So the content right now in Throne of Liberty is pretty dry, as you all know, and it's kind of getting really difficult to find content to bring you guys. So I figured why not, let me just show you what I've been working on, which is the theory crafting for tier 2. You can see I have a couple of builds here already set up and that I've been working on. I will link the quest log down in the description below. Just keep in mind that this is not for sure yet. This is a work in progress. This is just what I've been messing with. As you can see here, I have 3 builds that are what I'm thinking are going to be like my main one. I'm trying to figure out what I want to choose. One is like a higher hit. One has the higher maxed runes and whatnot. And then I have a couple builds down here below, which has like the different spear, the arc ball spear. You got like a high hit build over here, and you got like the range and magic evasion build over here. Also, I want to preface that this build is not just built from the ground up. I took inspiration from Blackout's build. He had a build already up for T2, so I just kind of took his and I changed a couple of pieces and I changed the stats and I added mastery and everything else. So his is what I kind of built mine on, just to throw that out there. But I did change quite a bit of things and added in, you know, the range and hit and whatnot. So this is what I'm currently working with. So there's a lot of new stuff in T2 that is going to come out. Like, it's going to be like a content overload, right? Because I don't think we get artifacts in the beginning, but we're also going to get artifacts at some point. And these add a lot as well. You can see they add more health, they add more evasion, they add more hit chance. It's crazy. So there's just going to be so much on top of the fact that we get a whole new mastery tree. That's going to change the game as well. You know, daggers, you would naturally get 105 evasion, where now you're going to get almost double that. Just from picking up certain nodes in here. And I don't want to confuse you too much, but you're even going to get things like where nimble steps would normally give you ranged evasion and CC resistance. You can get a node in your mastery tree that changes that ability, or that passive in your mastery, and it changes it to where you get melee hit 336 and attack speed by 4.8% instead of the ranged evasion and CC resistance. So it's like, there's going to be a lot that's going to change, okay? And I want you to keep that in mind. I think if I made a video over everything, it would be way too long. So I'm going to try to break this up in pieces. I guess we'll go over the equipment that I've chosen right here in front of you. And then I'll showcase the mastery and stuff and the artifacts in a different video, just so that way I can provide you guys content like I've normally been doing. So yeah, let's go over this. So I think a majority of players that are going to be spear are going to want to run melee and ranged in T2. And I think that reason for that is because I think melee is very dominant, I think, in T2. Like, I think sword and shield is going to become really strong, and they're going to have a lot of hit chance, and it's going to be crazy. So I don't know how good spear is going to be in T2. I've never played T2. I've never even looked into it. I'm just looking at these numbers right here, and I'm basing them off what I'm looking at, plus what I'm hearing from other players. So I can't give you an idea of how strong spear is going to be. I hear, honestly, that in Korea, that spear is actually very underwhelming in T2. But Korea has always had a different meta than us, and they don't play the same way we do. So I'm not just going to go off the bat and say that they're right, and spear is not going to be good in T2. It might be different for us, okay? So I don't want to kind of throw it under the bus just yet. So over here, I have one at the very top with max runes, and I say max runes on there because I have a lot of melee evasion. I almost have 3,500 melee evasion, and it's only because I'm stacking it very heavily. Like, I have chaos runes, as you can see, plus the defense rune for melee evasions in both weapons. I have my rings down here that have melee evasion plus the chaos melee evasion. So I wanted to break it up in pieces. I wanted to do a more realistic set. This one has normal runes, no chaos runes added to it. So I figured this one is like the very normal one. This one's going to be maxed out. Like, you're just 100% maxed out. And then I also have a build down here that has more hit, 1800 hit compared to 1574 hit. Now keep in mind, these numbers are before any buffs, okay? So I want you to keep in mind that's before this nimble step change, okay? That's 336 hit that you're going to have almost 100% uptime if you use that. As well as you got to think of the Enforcer, right? If you use Enforcer, you're going to get what is it? 410 hit. Okay, so your hit is going to definitely go above 2k with those buffs, which could be all that you need, or maybe you need more. Maybe you need 1800 hit, and then you use those buffs, and you're hitting, you know, around 2400 ish hit, which could be what you need. I don't know. It's hard. It's gonna be hard to tell. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna build this set, right? This set right here, and then if I need more hit, I'm gonna collect the pieces that I changed here. I think I changed the cape and the ring to just more hit, and then it changes the stats quite a bit. I don't know where these pieces are gonna drop from. I'm assuming a majority of them are from dungeons, hopefully. But you can see here, some of these set bonuses are crazy. Like the Imperial Trackers set bonus here gives you critical damage. I think this is a tooltip error, but it says 1% on each melee critical hit, critical damage 15%, up to 10 stacks. I think it just totals out to 15%, because if 10 stacks of 15% would be insane. But it's weird because I don't know what the 1% is. Anyways, this doesn't stack with other critical damage boost. This is kind of like the Shadow Harvester set, but that's why I have the chest and the pants here. Over on the gloves and the boots, I also grabbed the Forgotten Assassin's Shadowless. The set bonus basically is like a Tublik, or sorry, like a Carnix bow, where you give range to your party members, but instead you actually give evasion to all of your party members within 18 meters. Kind of cool, by 110. So that's a cool set to have. I thought that was pretty good, and the stats on them are really good. They have melee. This one has magic, which is not so good, but this one has like hit chance, heavy attack chance. It's just crazy. Like the stats that we are going to get in T2 on gear pieces are just insane. They add so much. Like look at these rings. They add tons of stats on them. Heavy melee hit chance, perception, added attack speed, like 7.2. It's crazy. But anyways, the two set bonuses are the what I thought were important to have is Forgotten and Imperial. The helmet is not part of a set piece, but it has really good stats: mana cost efficiency, heavy attack chance, and hit chance, and dexterity. So I figured, why not? Also for T2, keep in mind that you are going to have resonance effect, which like I said, I haven't looked much into this. I'm assuming this is what makes T2 gear, right? But you're basically going to be able to add a stat. You could choose max health. You could choose all of this stuff. Obviously, we're going to go for melee evasion on all of the pieces. So that is why we have, this is without the max runes, but 3,100 for the runes. And then same thing for the weapons, but you're going to do hit chance for the weapons. I feel like that's the most important out of what you could get. You could get health, but I feel like hit chance is going to be very important in T2. For the accessories, you can't do anything. You can only do, a bunch of the CC and stuff like collision and whatnot. So I chose max health again. I don't know how reasonable these are going to be to change the resonant effect, but mana regen would be nice if this was like really easy to change, back and forth. But anyways, on all accessories, I have max health for the resonance effect. And so you can see over here in T2, you're going to have close to 26,000 HP, which I feel like is a lot, or like a good bit comparatively to what we have now. Like I'm sitting around like 17,000 health, I think, right now. So going up to like 26,000 is going to be crazy. Big difference. You can see also that your stats are you're going to get so many more stats. Like I get 50 strength, 40 perception. I even put, a couple into wisdom. And then I get almost 95, almost. That's going to give me OCD, but almost 95 dexterity, which is crazy. You could definitely you could definitely get more if I wanted to, right? If I wanted to go all the way up to 100, but I don't think it's needed. I'm just going to keep it like this because the other stats look fine when they're like this. But you can see you get quite a bit. The runes are not going to be insanely hard to get. They definitely go up more, right? Because you're going to get the purple runes for T2. So you're going to get more stats from everything in general. Like I said, the build has almost 3,100 melee evasion. You got almost 2,100 ranged evasion. You got to think whenever you use your Shadow Walker, that is going to give you around 700? So you're at like 2800. It's not high. It's not crazy high, but I think it'll do for what you could build. Your magic evasion is at 1000, but this is kind of a wash. Even though it'll go up to 1700, I think they're just going to have too much hit. It'll kind of just wash that out. They're going to have more hit than 1700, I think. So I would just kind of, that's a wash. Everything else, though, is just kind of nice. You have 630 heavy attack chance. And the reason that I think that this is good melee heavy attack is because I think in T2, right, we are going to primarily use Enforcer. I think this is going to be a must in T2. So that means that you're going to lose out on the default unyielding sentinel, which gives you like 600 or so heavy attack chance when there's 5 people around you. You're going to lose out on that. I don't think we're going to ever use this anymore. I think hit chance is going to be the most important thing in T2. I think that's going to be what we're lacking. So I think we're going to use Enforcer 100% of the time. So just having 630 melee heavy attack in general, just flat, I think is really nice. It's going to be really important to have that. Another thing too that's going to be important in T2 is your critical hit chance. You have almost 1800 here, but you have to remember that people in T2 are going to be able to build a lot more endurance. I think some of them, if they heavily stack it, can get up to like 2100 endurance. Okay, which is going to totally completely X out your critical hit chance. You're never going to crit on them. However, we do have lightning infusion, which makes it to where their endurance gets cut, right? Like you look at lightning infusion, up to a maximum of 800 endurance reduction from the people that have 20 stacks on them. If you take this in the mastery tree, when murderous energy is activated, the duration of poison and thunderclouds applied by daggers decreases by 5 seconds, so the durate is shorter, but its effect improves by 50%. So if math is math, and 50% on top of this 800 endurance should give you 400 more endurance. So it should be 1200. So that's going to be important because if somebody had 2100 endurance, you're never critting on them with this crit. However, if you have 20 stacks of your lightning on them, you're going to cut their endurance down by 1200. So it's going to basically make you're going to be able to crit. You know, it's not going to be super high, but it's better than not being able to crit at all on that target. You know what I mean? And critting is very important for us, obviously, because in order for, Umbral Spirit or Thunder Spirit to work, you need to crit. Very important that we crit. So ideally, you might even want more of a crit chance, but I think sticking around 1800, at least for now, is fine. It just really depends. Like I said, none of this stuff is tested. Okay, so I can't tell you if it's going to work or not, if this is enough crit, or if this is enough hit, or if this is enough melee evasion. I can't tell you if it's going to work. I just am going off of what I can build in here and what I could stack. And hopefully, I'm hoping it works in T2. If you guys have any insight on what works and what doesn't, because maybe you're a KR vet and you've played over there and you can tell, even though Spear's a new weapon. So that's one thing. Spear's such a new weapon, it's so hard to gauge, right? Like if it's good or not. But yeah, and then I have these other builds down here. I'm not going to go over the individual pieces as much. You can look over them. Like I said, I'll have the quest log down below. And also keep in mind, guys, I know I have the Tevent daggers in there because this is primarily what I'm going to use. You can play around with the other daggers. I think the second best daggers that are going to be there is these Leviathan Spectre daggers. I think this is very, very comparable to the Tevent daggers because you can see the Umbral Spirit and Thunder Spirit damage is increased by 20%, which is crazy. That's a lot. That's a big increase. It says duration on melee critical hit 0.2. I don't know what that one means. Yeah, I don't know what that one means. But the Leviathan daggers are going to be very comparable to the Tevent daggers. The only reason if I didn't have Tevent daggers, I'd 100% be going for this when T2 hits. Either these, or I think there's one more, like this one, the Birkin, which on skill hit creates an 80% chance of reducing all endurance of the target by 12 for 3 seconds, increases the user's base damage by 3. It stacks up to 10 times, so it's decent. It's going to get rid of more endurance, which could be nice. I don't know how big it's going to be though. But it lowers their endurance and it gives you the base damage increase by 30. So it could be nice. I do think that these probably are going to be the best daggers outside of Tevent, the Leviathan ones. I don't think that there's any other daggers else that like this one. I don't think it's good. You don't want to freeze people. So yeah, just change them out. Play with come in here and plug this in, and you can see the stats here, and just play with the stats. If you, like I said, if you don't have Tevent, I would probably use the Leviathans or the Birkins, one of the two. But like I said, since I have them, we'll be sticking with Tevent. And then down here below, I have other sets. I have the Arc Boss Spear, which hopefully I could potentially get when T2 comes around. This spear is crazy because you can tell, so the Crimson's going to be really good. Okay, you can see that the passive, the Explosive Fury, the damage you deal is going to be increased by 8%, and then every time you critical hit, you're going to reduce the duration or the cooldown of Phoenix Barrage. So this spear is going to be crazy. But you can see, so what I want to point out is the damage, the top end is 274. If you look at the Arc Boss Spear, it's 331. It goes from 274 to 331, which is insane to me. You can see over here on the right, you go from 609 damage, and this is with more dex, to 669. I feel like this spear is going to hit really hard. So I don't know if it's going to be better than the Crimson, because the Crimson passive is in my opinion better than this one. This one is just Rising Slash is now usable in a target direction, and it basically pushes people that you collide with. And if they hit a wall, they're stunned. So it could be really nice for small corners and stuff. But what I'm most excited about this spear is the fact that it has so much more damage. So much more damage. So that could be really cool. But anyways, I have that build down here with just the swap with that spear. Same armor and whatnot. I have a high hit build here that reaches almost up to 2,500 hit. Keep in mind, this is pre-buff. So you could definitely reach over 3K hit with your buffs, like Enforcer, and Nimble Steps and whatnot. You could definitely reach over 3K. The only problem with this build, like any other build in the game, when you try to raise another stat, other stats lack. So your magic and your ranged evasion are only at 2,200. Now with Shadow Walker, you're hitting 2,900 on each, so you're almost at 3K on each, and this is also with using magic evasion runes, and then you got, I'm pretty sure I have, so basically your defenses kind of lack here. It's going to make a difference. You're going to be a little bit squishier. And also, I didn't play around with it, but I'm not sure if you can get a melee evasion high enough with melee hit. I'm sure you could, but ideally, I think that, this is what you would be looking at if you went a high hit build. I didn't play with it too much. I just something that was more reasonable. And then I also have a range and magic evasion set over here. You can reach almost 2,800 of both, 2,900 magic evasion outside of buffs. So you're easily reaching 34-ish hundred evasion for both range and magic, which is really nice. Your hit chance is decent. It's below 1,500, and then your critical hit chance, I think with ranged and magic, is just way more. You almost have 2K critical hit chance, which is really nice. Your health stays around the same. This build could be nice. I just don't think I'm going to use this, or at least build this right off the bat, because I think melee is going to be dominant, like I said, in the beginning of T2. Not even in the beginning. I think it's just dominant in general for T2. So I think what I'm going to primarily stick with is this top set up here. But you guys can do whatever you think is right. Like I said, these builds are still a work in progress. If you have better ideas or suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments down below. Or better yet, I have a Discord. That you can come through and leave your messages. And just, we can chat it out. We can figure out, we can theory craft and try to find what ideally is the best build out there and work together. But this is basically what I've come up with. I'll make another video that goes over all of the mastery changes, because there's quite a bit that's going to change the game. I'll just point out one here that, you know, nimble steps is basically what gives you CC resistance and ranged evasion. But you can change it to where it's going to give you more hit chance and added attack speed. So a lot of big changes come from the mastery. So I'll go over that in another video. But yeah, this is basically what I'm coming up with. Like I said, I'm trying to theory craft. This is not final. It is a work in progress. So take a look at it. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.